On our morning show today, we are live and local at Ithaca as the Bulldogs have some great career opportunities for students. And joining me, first of all, it's a rare opportunity to talk to my son, James Nee. But how you doing, James?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you on here. We're specifically talking about career and technical education. And from your standpoint, that's kind of your whole thing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of CTE classes, and I'm really glad to be back here and sharing my love and passion of careers and technical education. So getting to be here every day, sharing my love with the kids, it's pretty cool.
So, what are some things you're working on this? I guess it's the end of the semester, but for the next semester, what are your goals?
Yeah, so finishing up this semester, we're finishing up welding and being in a little bit of a small area. We change all of our welding courses to woodworking courses from first semester to second semester. So wrapping up, we're trying to get a bunch of welds completed and doing dual credit through Southwest Tech, trying to finish up and get kids the transcripted credit through them. And then we're moving into all woodworking, so getting out the woodworking equipment, and I think kids are getting pretty excited for it.
What are some of the welding projects you worked on for a semester?
So finishing up some of the welding stuff, we're trying to get students to be able to weld in all positions. So our intro to welding classes, we're finishing up being able to weld vertical and horizontal and doing all different types of joints and welds. And then same with the dual credit through Southwest Tech, our welding class, just trying to get them more experienced if they do choose to further their education in welding.
Do you communicate with Southwest Tech a little bit and some things that they're looking for?
Yeah, I have the honor of working with them and getting to communicate with them quite often. Southwest Tech does also offer an open weld night that students can go once a month. We try to send kids up there too, just to get students to be able to see what a college welding classroom and setup might look like.
I'm sure there are a lot of employers that are kind of licking their chops, so to speak, to get some of these students, aren't there?
Yeah, I think especially welding is a very cool tool and asset to have, and being able to have that knowledge and being able to set up a welder and also just being able to purchase it on your own. But yeah, the employers, I think it's definitely a skill that going forth, there's a lot of welders needed.
Looking at this semester coming up here, the woodworking courses, what are some of the examples of projects that you'll work on?
So with our woodworking classes, I let the students pick what they get to make. So obviously we try to keep it in their skill range, but any project a student creates, they can take home. They do have to buy their own materials, but being able to buy them and having that sense of ownership in something they made is pretty cool.
It is, and I think you've had some good examples, haven't you, in the past? Some things that students have made that are pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we've had some really cool stuff, cabinets and vanities, and it's really setting the bar high. And I think that students coming in have obviously big shoes to fill from last year, but it holds them to a high standard, and it shows them really cool stuff that they can make and be able to, leave here with.
Do you have several students that you have in class doing some to work projects as well, going to area businesses and working during the school day?
Yeah, a lot of my students, I guess the clientele that I have, they do leave about halfway. So my classes are a little smaller come the afternoon, but for them to be able to leave and go to work and make money and still learn, I'm all for it.
And you have middle school students as well this year.
Yeah, so I teach middle school exploratory in the mornings, and so I teach 7th and 8th grade, and I really enjoy that. We do a lot of woodworking, 3D printing, just to try to hook them for high school, to be able to take my classes in high school when they have more of an option.
Indeed, and I think that it's good to get them started there. Maybe none of them will even go into a career that's related to that, but those life skills is what it's all about, right?
Right, yeah, and I try to tell them that several times. Just simple skills like using a tape measure and being able how to measure. Those skills are definitely lifelong skills that I think that everyone needs to know.
All right, do you have some projects coming up, like some goals, some things that you'd like to see worked on here in the future?
Not necessarily. I think just building the program and getting more students to participate, especially females, definitely upward trend. And I think that just building the program and getting students more interested and involved, that's what I'm all about.
Tell me about the tractors. There's one outside right now.
There is one outside. I told the students when we backed it out, we needed to park it and make it look nice, but it's got 2 flat tires. Yeah, our ag mechanics class, we are working on a couple tractors right now, doing tune-ups and maintenance, and Ms. Sprecher generously allowed us to work on her tractor, so we've been working on that the last few weeks, and we sent it out the door, and yeah, they really get a kick out of it, and they love it, and being able to be hands-on, all the kids love.
Well, I know that tractors now are a lot more advanced. You know, you've got computers to deal with and all those kind of things. But again, it's a good skill to have, isn't it?
Yeah, just those basic principles of, how a four-stroke engine works. We can take that and to apply it to, different mechanics. And that is a difficult part, is we can't have anything too new in here, just with technology, but just those old tractors, the kids really like, and that's what they're passionate about, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think in the future that might be a way to go as well. Doing some things, and maybe a goal to even restore one sometime down the road to maybe even auction off or something, right?
Yeah, definitely a goal. Maybe one day when we have a little more space, definitely.
Sure. And, in terms of that, I know you've had some community support, like some donations, haven't you, from the community for your programs?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of, parents of students have been definitely very generous and helping us out, and programs in the school too, just being able to update our equipment a little bit and get us new tools. It's definitely very helpful to be able to build our program too.
Well, I know you attended Southwest Tech as well, and in terms of Ithaca's relationship with Southwest Tech, I think it's even grown since you were in high school, hasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's grown tremendously. Just being able to offer those dual credit opportunities, and being a Southwest Tech alumni, I'm all for it. Just having that opportunity in our backyard for students to attend, I think it's amazing. So I definitely try to get kids to go down there, check it out. They have a lot of preview days that I'm always trying to get kids to, hey, take a day off and go up there and check it out, because what we have is just amazing. And for students to be able to go there and get an education in 2 years and not go into a lot of debt, it's something that I think a lot of students are now starting to realize and try to take that opportunity.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us. Anything else you'd like to add, James?
I don't think so. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Good to have you on here as we broadcast from Ithaca today, our morning show from WRCO. And that's James Nee, who's the technical education advisor here at Ithaca. We'll have more coming up. Katie Burnley joins us on WRCO as we broadcast from Ithaca, and we're talking about some of the classes offered here. And Katie is the business education teacher at Ithaca. So thanks for agreeing to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Taking time out of your classes here today to be with us on the morning show. But tell me about some of the courses that you offer in your room.
Well, I don't have any classes that are year long. They are all either a quarter or a semester. I have one middle school class, and they come every quarter. So I see a small group of 7th graders, then another small group of 7th graders, and then I get 8th grade the second semester. For high school, I have personal finance, which is a required class. It's the only required class I teach. I teach introduction to business. I teach personal finance. And we do have some classes that aren't offered every quarter or every year. I also teach sports and entertainment marketing, and I have the yearbook class.
Wow, you stay busy. You talk about life skills. That might be, some of those classes might be the most important that anybody learns, because you're going to use some of those things every day, right?
Yeah, I tell the students all the time that some of the things they teach in personal finance, I wish I knew when I was either their age or even college or in my first job. I think I would have made some very different decisions. So I'm very, very passionate when it comes to the personal finance class. It's so important to me. And yearbook, I kind of feel the same way too. It's so much work, but I tell the students, I'm like, this is the only class that you take that you're going to have a hardbound copy of your work, and it's part of the school's history, and it's going to be kept in the library. So we really stress it's a lot of hard work, but it's so interesting. And I tell the students, I'm like, trust me, you don't want me writing the captions on the sports pictures. So just join your book and help me out, because it will be so much better if you write it than if I write it.
So you mentioned the sports and marketing aspect. That has to be a fun class. Is it a popular one?
It is a fun class. It's usually one of the smaller classes because it's an elective class. We do a really fun computer simulation at the end of the class. I would say 3/4 of the class is book work, but we have great conversations in that class. But the end of the class, we do a sports marketing simulation project. It's several weeks long, and they are owners of a football team, and they have to make all sorts of decisions as to how much they pay the players, how many spots they're going to have in the parking lot, what type of food and how many vendors they're going to sell. So it's a really fun simulation. I think the
guess.
kids really enjoy that.
Do you still have them balance a checkbook?
Believe it or not, that's not part of personal finance.
Okay.
You would think it would be, and there's been a few situations where I'm like, do you know how to write a check? And so we do touch on it briefly, but we don't have them balance a checkbook. And I do tell the students, I'm like, you should not just look at your bank account and say, is there money in there? Because you got to count. You can't always depend on when somebody's going to deposit a check and when it's going to clear in your account. So don't just look at the balance.
The other fun, antiquated question, you ever make them sit down at an old manual typewriter and make them try to type?
I did buy a typewriter at a garage sale once, and I have it in my classroom. It's kind of funny when the keys stick, so they can't really. But it's a fun topic of conversation to have.
Sure. But, keyboarding and learning home row, I mean, again, something you're going to use every single day, right?
It is. And I keep telling the students, I'm like, you're not chickens. You're not going to hunt and peck. So this is the first year I haven't had an elementary typing class. I've done typing for, usually it's 3rd grade, but I've had some 4th grade, some 5th grade, and as low as like a semester of 2nd graders, trying to help them get ready for their forward tests. And we watch some fun videos, and they learn a little song about the keys and where they are and which fingers to use. But they keep saying, oh, I can type so much faster with just 2 fingers. And I try to tell them, like, okay, so if you were in a sport and you were doing it your way, and your coach says it might be a little more work to learn how to do it this way, but in the long run, you'll be more accurate, you'll be faster. And then, so again, I try not to do sports analogies, but that's one I feel like they can really identify with.
Yeah, that works. I know you have some students doing independent studies. Could you talk about that, Katie?
Yeah. One of the most common independent study classes is getting their certification in Microsoft Office programs. So the ones that they're working on now is certification in Microsoft Word, certification in Microsoft Excel, and in PowerPoint. I come from the business world. This is my 6th year teaching, and I never used Google Sheets or Google Docs before, and I see some advantages of it, and maybe now it might be more common in the workplace, but I keep telling students these programs have so many more things that you can do with it. And so I'm really excited. I've had 6 students get their Microsoft Word certification so far this semester, 4 get their Excel certification this semester. I have 2 that are going to be testing this week, so I have my fingers crossed for them. And then they might try to do PowerPoint in the couple weeks we have left. We'll see.
But it looks good down the road for college apps and things like that, too,
Yeah,
right?
this is definitely something they could put on college applications, definitely something that they would include on their resumes under the skills category.
Okay. FBLA has been very successful here at Ithaca. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Every time we've gone to an FBLA regional competition, which is we compete against schools in our area and larger schools. It goes by region. We're in Region 4, but we compete with schools like as big as schools in La Crosse. So it doesn't matter how big your school is or how many students you have in the program. You're all kind of grouped into one regional leadership conference. Ours will be coming up February 1st. This year it will be hosted in Fenimore. So it's nice that we don't have too far of a commute this time. And then the students, they compete in projects like sports and entertainment management, there's an interview project, there's a graphic design project. One of my favorite, and maybe this would be one of your favorites, is broadcast journalism.
Awesome.
That usually students do pretty well in that also, and it's a fun project to watch them complete.
So you have the competition at Fenimore, and then where's the next level then, if you make it?
The state would be held in April, I believe, this year in Green Bay. This would be the third year in a row we've been. Before that, we had gone to Madison a couple of times. But it's fun to take the students there, and they not only get to compete, but they also get to hear a lot of great workshops presented. I had attended one last year of I don't know his exact title, but it was a former Green Bay Packer kicker who now works at the organization as a diversity coach. I don't remember his exact title, but incredible, one of the best speakers I've ever heard. It's so much fun to hear the people from the different areas.
I bet. Now, you said you were here 6 years at Ithaca. You're probably seeing some of the first students you had, out in the workforce now. How rewarding is that?
It is. It's what's been really fun is some of the first students I had with typing, I've got a couple years later in middle school and have had in high school too. So it's really interesting to see how they've progressed over the years. It's very uncommon, I think, for teachers to get that type of exposure to all the different grade levels. And it's really rewarding to see what wonderful people they've become over the years. It's pretty exciting.
Overall, that's why you teach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And that's the whole reason why I started teaching. I had several years experience in human resources, and I loved coming in to help the careers class do the interviews. And I enjoy this so much. Why don't I start working with the students? So.
Great. Well, glad you are. Thanks for joining us, Katie.
Sure.
You bet. Katie Burnley, business education teacher at Ithaca, on our morning show. Melissa Sprecher is next to join us down the hall. It's almost like you're going to the principal's office. You're in trouble here or something, but welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. When James came down, he's like, "Hey, can you go do an interview now with my dad?" I'm like, "What did I do wrong?" But yes, glad to be here, Phil. I always enjoy visiting with you.
Awesome. You mentioned James. That might be a good lead-in. I know that you're looking at getting into the chicken business a little bit. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do, I think, really well at Ithaca is our CTE programs work together, and we try to have things that have multifacets to it, to where we're working with several kids, several different teachers, different groups, even sometimes trying to reach down into the elementary and pull them into there too. So last year I applied for a grant through Compare Financial, and I received a grant, and we purchased an incubator to incubate any kind of poultry eggs, and then we have some brooders, so once they're hatched, we can put them in there and raise them. And once we get them to a big enough size, Mr. Nee and his classes are going to be building a chicken coop for us that we'll have out here on the property, and we'll move the chickens out to there. So very exciting with that.
Lots of fun, and I think all ages can benefit and have fun watching that project too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually going to have the incubator and the brooders down close to the elementary, so the elementary students and middle school students as well can go down in there with their teacher, and they can see what day we're on. So say we're like day 3 of being in the incubator. There'll be a poster there where they can see what it would look like inside the egg, like what that embryo looks like, what the baby chick looks like at that point, and then just some key points about like what's going on, what's developing today in our chicken. And then when they start hatching, which will be the exciting day for everybody, but especially the younger kids, when they start hatching at 21 days, they'll be able to see the hatching and then be able to watch them grow from there, because then we'll put them in the brooders, and then be able to feed them and stuff. And we'll have interesting facts as we go. We'll be weighing the birds so they can see like how much are they growing every day. So yeah, very much incorporate as many people as we can. And we'll have some of our FFA members will be part of that project. That'll be their supervised ag experience.
Tell me about the CTE classes that you're a part of.
Yeah, so got a couple that this year we are doing for transcripted classes. So if students, whether they want to go on to Southwest Tech or not, they still can take these classes for credit through Southwest Tech, and one of them is plant science. And that one, I started a crop science class a few years ago, and this plant science class kind of ties into that and actually just beefs that class up a lot. It's really geared towards our kids who are thinking about going back to farming or maybe going into agronomy or working for a company that's maybe working with plants. We do everything starting from very, very small, like development of the seeds and how that seedling, advances. We do genetics. We talk about soil nutrition. Everything that you would need to know to grow crops or be part of, an agronomist program. So that one's exciting. And then my animal science class as well. That one is a transcripted credit to Southwest Tech. I added a new class this year I'm super excited about, and we are having so much fun. It's a floral culture class, so floral design. And I have kids in there, and we are just having so much fun. We are learning about color theory and balance principles and how to do different styles of arrangements and different arrangements throughout the seasons. We've done some really cool projects. If you're on Facebook, you can go to Ithaca Public Schools Facebook page, and you can see some of the fun things we did. When we did color theory, we did some work with we colored frosting and frosted cookies, so that was everyone enjoyed that. And yeah, we did some centerpieces for Christmas that the kids took home and got to share with their families. And right now we're working on learning how to do bows, so it's been really fun to just teach them all kinds of new things that they can take out and use later in life.
That's a good transition into you're going to be selling some plants again this year from the greenhouse?
Yeah, so we have a greenhouse here at Ithaca, and my horticulture classes, along with my middle school classes and my floriculture class, we'll be spending time out in the greenhouse, doing everything from starting seeds and doing some propagations off of plants where we do vegetative propagations to planting plugs and making baskets. We're going to be having some bedding plants and stuff too. So yes, every year we open up the greenhouse the first weekend of May, and anyone from the community can come in and purchase. And like I said, last year I think we had about 280 hanging baskets, so quite a few to choose from, lots of different colors, different flowers, so you can choose all different kinds, and then lots of bedding plants. And then we also have some vegetables as well.
I know that a good testament to that, we recently had the Greater Richland Area Chamber of Commerce on our morning show, but they commented on that's where they get their baskets that hang in downtown Richland Center.
Yeah, yep, they do. They contracted with us a couple of years ago, and it's a great relationship. We love it. We're able to help them out and provide them with some beautiful baskets, and then they'll also help us out with some financial part of that because they purchase them for us, and the kids love it because they have so much pride in it that they know every time that they drive down to downtown Richland Center, they know they had something to do with those baskets to get them to look as beautiful as they do. So yeah, it's awesome. I really appreciate their support, and it's just so fun to watch these kids grow and understand how all of that comes together from the time that we go to the catalogs and we look at what kind of flowers we want to put in these baskets to getting them as teeny tiny little flowers, little seedlings, and planting them. And they look so small in those great big flower baskets. We're like, oh my gosh, how are these ever going to look, big and full? And then, doing the fertilizing and making sure they're watered and the temperatures are right, and, checking for bugs and checking for diseases and everything to make sure our plants are healthy. And then 1st of May rolls around, and it's just, we open the doors to the greenhouse, and you can just smell it as you're walking up the sidewalk. You can just smell how beautiful the flowers are. It's just so exciting to watch it through the students' eyes every year.
Yeah, and again, it's all about life skills, isn't it? Something you can take on to life and maybe have a green thumb when you have your own place someday.
Absolutely. I've had a couple of kids that said that they've learned that they are not going to be a gardener. So that's okay too. It's okay to learn those things that, something you're not interested in. Because I think, a part that is really important, things that we do in the CTE department is we teach them what are your passions? We offer them different ways to try different things they're passionate about to help them figure out what they want to do for a career. Because we'd rather they figure it out now that it's something that I do not want to do this than to go to school for 2 or 4 years and then figure it out, okay, I don't want to do this. So giving them those different opportunities where it's hands-on skills and getting to understand that, like, okay, for this job, I would have to do this every day, or I'd have to understand how this works. And for them to be able to say, yeah, that's something that's really cool that I didn't know that I'd be interested in, or like, nope, no way, not doing that. So, and we've always said, like, when you only know what you know. And if you don't know people that do a certain job, you might not even know that job exists as a high school student. So just kind of opening their eyes to what are some different careers out there that you could possibly go for that are more than just what the people in your community do.
FFA, you must have some contests coming up, don't you?
Yes, we do. In fact, I'm just working on finishing up some manuscripts for some kids, editing them and getting them sent off today. So our first LDE competition is on the 22nd. So we'll be taking, our officer team does parliamentary procedure, which I'm so proud of these kids because every year I end up with 3 or 4 new ones that have never done that before. And we start from scratch, and they are always intimidated to start. But by the time that we get to the end, they're really grateful that they put in the time and effort to understand how to do parliamentary procedure. And 2 quiz bowl teams, and we have a couple kids doing prepared speaking, a couple kids doing the job skills or the interview, and a couple other ones doing ag discussion. So that'll be our first contest of the year. And then after that, it seems like they just come one after another between the CDEs and the LDEs. But we love it. The kids love it. They're always asking, when's the next contest? What are we doing? And I'd like to see them practice. And again, when you talk about life skills, Phil, there's so many life skills that they learn from doing, whether it's a speaking contest or the career development contests. I mean, how many times have you been in a meeting when you have people that don't know how to do parliamentary procedure? They don't know how to run a meeting or make a motion, or what do we do to amend it, or all those kinds of things. And so having those skills are really, really good later in life as an adult, and not just to put on a resume, but you'll use those your entire life.
Where are the competitions at then for FFA competitions?
So the district LDE, which that's the first one we're going to, that one is this year. We're at North Crawford. So I think we have 8 schools in our district that we rotate. So we hosted last year. This year, North Crawford will host. And then our sectional competition is wherever our section officer is from. So this year's officer is from Fenimore, so we'll be going down there. And then the state competition for the speaking events is during state convention in June, and that's in Madison at the Line Energy Center. And then our CDE contests, we usually go to Platteville and to Janesville for those. There are some others further north, but it's just a long ways to travel for us. So we try to go to the ones that are closer. And then those state contests for the career development events, those are in Madison in April.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add about the CTE courses that are offered here at Ithaca, Melissa?
Yeah, I just would like to add that I know we have a lot of other local schools around that do a great job with their CTE programs too, and it's great to kind of pull from them things that they're doing, and we do a lot of sharing and stuff out there. But just to people whose kids either are going to Ithaca or you're thinking about where you want to send your kids, we do have a great CTE program here. And if your kids aren't taking advantage of those classes, when they bring home their scheduling sheet, ask them about them. Like, hey, have you thought about taking a shop class? Or have you thought about taking something in the business or family consumer ed? Or maybe the ag room might have something to interest you. Because every year, even when I was teaching family consumer ed, I would have kids that are like, well, I just signed up because I needed a class, and I didn't want to take another study hall. And by the time we get done with them being in that class for a semester, they are so excited. I remember I had one kid one year in my foods class. The first day of class, he goes, Miss Sprecher, I can't make anything. I burn water. I'm like, okay, cool. This is a good place to start. And by the time that we got done at the end of second semester, he goes, I might just buy a food truck. I think this would be great. So just to watch them grow, and he had no idea how much he loved cooking until he actually got into it and learned how to do it and then did it. And he's like, this is awesome. I absolutely love doing this. So it's really fun to watch some of these kids discover a passion they don't have. And so we just encourage parents to encourage your kids to take some of those CTE classes, learn some great life skills and things that they can use every day after they graduate, not just, first few years out of school, or not just on their job, but at home and in general in life.
Indeed. And if they do go into a career, you talk about the ag career, how many ag-based careers we have here in the state of Wisconsin, right?
Absolutely. I think the figure is right around 45% of our careers in Wisconsin are directly tied. Now, if you want to go indirectly, it's going to get even higher, right? Like as we start talking about all the people that work maybe at a manufacturing plant that manufactures or sends out cereal or hot cocoa or whatever it is. If you start including those jobs, then it really goes up dramatically, but just directly tied to agriculture, yeah, it's over 40%. So pretty incredible to do that. And again, like even if you're not going to go into agriculture directly, you just never know where your path might take you. That having that knowledge of agriculture or that knowledge of woodworking or that knowledge of shop, what that can do to make you more marketable, to make you more valuable as an employee.
Indeed. Well, thanks so much for coming down the hall and talking to us today.
Absolutely, Phil. Thanks for having us. Always a joy.
You bet. We're talking about Ithaca and a lot of the things that they have to offer here in the CTE programs and others. And thanks again to Melissa Sprecher for being our guest here on this portion of the morning show. We're wrapping up our on-location morning show here at Ithaca with Monica Kirshner, who is the Youth Apprenticeship Career Coach. Monica, we've heard from some of the advisors here and educators, and sounds like a really good thing going toward the future of education here at Ithaca.
Absolutely. I love being a part of this community and the students here, and pretty much just striving to help them know their passions and strengths, to discover their passions and strengths, and lead them in the career pathways that they would like to pursue.
I know you had some impressive numbers last year with your youth apprenticeship and things like that. Are the numbers pretty good here for this year?
They are. We right now have 22 students in the youth apprenticeship program, and I find that really it's great because the 22 students that are in it, they, like I said, have that passion, have that strength, have that career awareness of the direction that they want to go. And so it's just a perfect number, actually, and it's just, it's good working with them.
I'll bet. Can you give us an idea of some of the different ranges where they're headed toward, when they go into work?
Yeah, so with our students this year, we have a bit of a variety, and I like that. I even learn then more with the career clusters and the pathways that the students are going. And it's, like I said, I even learn. So our students this year, we of course have, coming from a rural community, we have our agriculture students, of course. But what I love is just their passion and their energy to continue rural agriculture and just building and growing off of whether it's their family farms or agriculture businesses around here. We have a student that's highly engaged in finance, and the student just knows that they want to go on, to work in the banking industry or accounting, and so I love having that. A big avenue that we have is the healthcare, and healthcare this year has been something new with our students that they've been able to explore at another level. Not only getting their CNA, but now advancing into their career pathway. And what I mean by that is having the Richland Hospital come on board with the youth apprenticeship program this year. So we have multiple students employed there, and they are really learning a lot of hands-on, a lot of just knowledge in the healthcare field. But with that, we also, we have students in IT. That department is absolutely growing. Another big one is construction. Our students going right into the workforce, right into the trades, and then having them have this opportunity is great because they just feel like they are ready to go right into their career path.
Do you have a situation where you might have a student come in and I'm interested in this, and then do you reach out to those businesses and see if they're interested as well?
Yeah, yep, I do that. That's what's kind of fun, relational building with community and employers and certain businesses. And like I said, we've had quite a few new ones come on this year, and that's been really rewarding, especially, of course, to the students. So, yeah.
And many of them wind up, maybe, I don't want to say working there for life, but a lot of times they do find full-time employment there eventually when their schooling days are done, don't
Yep,
they?
absolutely. So I can, I wish I had more of my stats pulled up, of course, within like the last few years of what has happened, but we have a tremendous amount, a good percentage of our students that have, yes, they have gone on to post-secondary schooling, either went on to, a technical school or a 4-year, but they've always come back to maybe a certain business around here, and we have a good percentage of students that are that were in the youth apprenticeship program and are still continuing to work at that place of employment.
That's awesome. So we talked a little bit earlier about career and technical education as well. And again, we've talked about the different avenues they can go. The person that we haven't talked to or talked about is Heather Deideloff, who's a big part of that. Could you talk about some of the programs that and the classes that she offers?
Yes. So, so first of all, congratulations to our staff member because she is on baby leave, and so that's why she was not able to be a part of this. But Heather is our food and consumer, health and consumer. She just pursues more into the hospitality, like I just said, the foods classes, just career readiness. Also, she. It is mandatory, that with our curriculum that students partake in careers class, usually their sophomore year. And so Mrs. Deidelhoff teaches careers class, gets the students ready. Her and I work together with that class because, of course, I come in and talk about careers and just kind of helping the students again, the whole, finding their passions and strengths. So we work together in the careers class. And Heather is a part of the FCCLA, which is like a family consumer course club, I should say. And she's got quite a few students who partake in that and are able to also get certifications. And that is the other thing. She is able to, and it's such a good thing, and we have had students in the past, those of it that have even been in the youth apprenticeship program, get their certification in early childhood.
We're very fortunate to live where we do. The proximity to Southwest Tech and CISA 3 helps out, I know, as well. You've got great resources here, don't you?
Yes, CISA 3 is a great supporter for us. They're the ones that make it all happen. So CISA 3 gives us that opportunity for our youth apprenticeship students to get that related instruction they need to go with that career pathway that they're pursuing. So take, for instance, again, if I talk about our healthcare students, we have a student in the youth apprenticeship program who's going on to pursue a nursing degree at Southwest Tech. And of course, she wants to get a head start, right? So she is pursuing some of her courses that is needed at Southwest Tech and is taking them right now. And that at her expense is free because that's one of the perks and one of the great things about the youth apprenticeship program is students are allowed 6 college credits every year. So the 1 to 2 years that they're in it, they can have up to 12 college credits for free, and that is, of course, again, because of CISA 3. So they're a huge part of making this organization happen.
Healthcare facilities that are looking to staff, too. I'm guessing they're pleased with that because get people into the workforce a little bit faster, too, right?
Correct, yes. So our students would start with just maybe some basic, like, do I want to go into healthcare? Like I said, I'm just using that as that career cluster as an example right now. But then the student decides maybe their junior year, like, yes, this is. So now they go on pursue their CNA. So now they're a certified nursing assistant, and then they take on some more classes and courses. And by the time they graduate from high school, they're ready to roll.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. Anything else you'd like to add about the CTE program or anything else going on this school year at Ithaca, Monica?
It's a great program to have the CTE and the courses that we offer. I know in the last year or two we've been able to offer a few more new courses that our teachers became certified to teach in, and that's been great because why? Well, it benefits our students. And so just giving our students what I like to say is bringing the classroom to life. I think a lot of CTE courses, well, all of them, we bring the classroom to life. Why? Because it's hands-on. It's just a different avenue and a twist of learning that the students like to pursue with. So I'm grateful for the CTE department here, grateful for who I get to work with, the teachers and staff, and like I said, just continuing to build it and continuing to just help these students identify their passions and strengths and pursue it in the Career Technical Education Department.
Well, it's certainly the present time here in education, but it's also, it seems, the future of education. It can only grow and get bigger, I'm thinking.
I think so, too. I mean, there's a lot. Being a little rural school, it really, the sky's the limit. So, like I said, a small rural school, but we bring a great amount of core classes, including and especially those CTE classes, to our school.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us and letting us use your office here today as well.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having us.
You bet. Monica Kirschner joining us here, Youth Apprenticeship Career Coach. And earlier we had Katie Burnley on, Melissa Sprecher, and James Nee talking about all of the exciting things happening here in education at Ithaca Schools.